How do you start off a podcast after being gone for like 4 weeks with no real explanation as to why?
I think that works.
All right, cool. Well, we're back after being gone for 4 weeks with no explanation as to why. Welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up. We hope that you didn't get them up because...
I mean, we've been warning you this whole time.
There's potential that this could happen, and it did.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, anybody who listens to this probably follows us enough to understand why we've been kind of busy the last few weeks.
I think you more than anyone. I've been mostly silent about the stuff, but since your job is on the internet now.
It's true. I have been making a lot of tweets.
Oh my gosh, so many.
Yeah.
I appreciate it whenever I say something, rah, 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 something about WoW that you chime in with your special account. And I'm all like, oh.
Yeah. My official CM account passed my personal account in Twitter followers finally over this last couple of weeks, just because of all the tweeting I was doing about launch issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how to feel about that. It's sort of like my fake internet self is overtaking my other fake internet self.
Yeah, no, it's that's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, so much has happened in this past month. I feel like everybody in the WoW community has seen a whole lot more action.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, let's see. The last episode we did was not the week of BlizzCon. It was the week before BlizzCon, I think.
Yeah, I don't even remember what we talked about at this point.
We were probably talking about BlizzCon.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess in terms of where the hell have we been? There's just been a comedy of situations and things and important items that needed tending to. I think on both of our fronts, and it just kind of rendered us both incapable of just jumping on. Granted, we could. I mean, what is it today? Monday, right?
Yeah.
We could have always just jumped on it at some point, but it's not easy.
Well, yeah, and especially when you've been working like crazy. I just finally got a weekend after 2 weeks this last weekend, and that was nice. I wasn't really super interested in doing more not that this podcast is really work, but work-ish. So I just wanted to relax. Any moment that I had to just relax, I wanted to just relax. So
yeah, I mean, the people at home should know that this podcast is a bit of a production. If the podcast is an hour long, you could bet that the entire thing from the beginning to end, even the stuff that happens behind the scenes, lasts about an hour and 5 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah. If a 60-minute podcast requires at least 61 minutes worth of work for us to put out.
I mean, it's funny because there's a little bit more to that, of course, but it's still sure. I mean, starting off with the week leading up to BlizzCon, on my front, we were busy last minute hammering out stuff for BlizzCon, and then of course the party, and then of course we had our ZAM get together that same week. So it was just a crazy week for us. I arrived in Anaheim Monday night or Tuesday, I think, something like that, and I left Sunday. So it was a very long week.
Yeah.
And you were living there, weren't you?
Well, not quite. I think you probably spent more time in Anaheim than I did, but the big thing for me was the weekend before we had the WoW Arena opening weekend in Burbank, California.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a whole ton of preparations to do for that, then actually do it, then drive back and all that sort of. So I had that as one weekend, and then BlizzCon, and then Warlords launch. And,
oh my god.
Yeah. It's been, I mean, at least the Burbank thing was in the opening weekend thing was only on Friday for me. So I came home that night and had that weekend, but still it was just tons of it was immediately after that. Oh, the other thing was immediately after that I had to figure out how to do a live dev Q&A in the span of 2 days, get the whole thing organized and everything. That was fun. And then it went over really well, so that was good, but
good.
Like just scrambling like crazy. That was immediately after BlizzCon. I had to figure that out. What was the other thing that I was doing the week before BlizzCon? There was something else that I don't even remember at this point. There's just been so much like constant stuff going on like crazy. Oh, there were some videos that I had to get ready to go out before BlizzCon or something like that. I don't even remember now. It's just it's been a blur over the last few weeks.
So we went into BlizzCon with like this plan. We're gonna go. We're gonna talk about stuff that we plan on doing as Zam. We're gonna do the Wowhead party, which went over insanely well. I mean,
oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
It could have been. Obviously, there's always room for improvements. But frankly, it was amazing. Like everybody that was on the team that helped put it together and that ran it did really, really well. The last year, I was basically the showrunner, and I was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth because the only way we had to communicate was using text. So I get a text and it's like, oh, this text came 5 minutes ago. Somebody's waiting at the front PvP desk or at the VIP desk. It's like, go to the front.
The
They're not
PvP
there.
desk.
I know. And I have to go find the person. And it's like now, like we had walkie-talkies. Like that's like one simple thing that helped kind of make some of our jobs a lot easier. And it just went over like really well. The stream was good, was pretty good. It was just compared to like previous years, it just went great. And then we're like, whoo, now let's go enjoy BlizzCon, and we'll do articles and do stuff and content based off of all the stuff that we know is coming. And then it's like, boom, Overwatch!
Yeah.
And we're like, thanks, Metzen. Fucking sweet.
Yeah. You guys got a site up for that in the span of like 3 seconds too. That was
so this is like the magic of like a handful of people here. We have obviously we have Perk, Olivia, and then we have Spiffy. And we have obviously some of the guys in the back end that actually can ops, like Chris and all of them, like actually help get things going. But man, they built this site so fast, and like we had data up on the site it looked like we data mined a client. Like it's up right now. It's overking.com, right? We have it up, and it's like it looks like we data mined a client. And like, no, it was basically just Olivia and Perk beating up the line to play the game, and looking over shoulders and like writing down everything.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about it. I don't remember where it was or even who I was talking to at this point, but somebody from Blizzard was like, how did they get all this information already? What's going on? And I'm like, no, don't listen. I used to work for these guys. They're crazy. They will just make a site in 5 minutes. Yes. It'll just happen.
Yeah, totally. And so we had it up. Yeah, we did have it up that night.
Well, and people were like, oh, Laura must have told Mike B because they're on that podcast.
Dude, these guys.
I didn't say shit.
You didn't say shit. And what? I think it came up once. I jokingly said like something Titan or whatever. And like we never went. You know why? Because we've been talking about this unannounced IP thing since Legendary episode 1. I don't even know. But like for like 3-4 years. So it just doesn't come up between us. There's a new IP. We beat it to death 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, Blizzard trademarked something. Whatever.
It was, with that too, there was like, God, what else happened? So, okay. So,
and like, just to be clear, in case anybody is wondering, like, the only thing that would have ever come up, I don't actually remember what you're talking about in terms of like talking about Titan or something, but the only thing that would have come up is I would have been like, I'm not supposed to talk about that or something like that. Like that would have been the extent of it. Like, I'm not going to comment on this sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we always just assumed Titan was the Halo MMO, and then that was like the end of it. Like we never really approached anything else. Like I as in terms of like what I do, yes, I knew about the trademark of the word Overwatch back when it was trademarked because that's part of what I do, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We monitor that stuff.
It makes sense for you to like have domain names ready just in case it turns out Overwatch is a thing and stuff like that.
Exactly. And what's funny is as many as we had so many domains already, like 7 months in advance. We didn't use any of them. We had to go and get over King. At first, we actually had OW King, which
I
nobody
kept reading
really
that.
liked.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought a lot of people were reading it as Owl King, which was weird. I kept reading it as ouking, as in like walking. Like I went out ouking earlier.
Like it's a thing, like a thing that you do.
Yeah. Like the process of having an auk is ouking.
Yes. Yeah, so we ditched that one pretty quick.
Yeah. Overking is much better.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so that was that whole thing was great. And then of course, we did the usual, like we shot a bunch of videos. One thing that was really cool was we were able to get and you happened to come by. We actually were able to use your desk, like the caster's desk, to film Wildhead Weekly.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember what I was heading over that direction to talk to somebody or something. Oh no, it was because the WoW documentary was playing and there was like nobody sitting in that section because nobody knew that the WoW documentary was playing over there. Because we're good at communicating those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, the WoW documentary is going on and there's nobody over there. This is a good opportunity for me to sit and relax for a minute. Why are Perk and Olivia sitting at my desk? I walked over there and I was like, did they just go up there? Like, what's going on? But then like a bunch of the stage people were there, and so it was like totally cool. But I was like, yeah, wow. I was surprised that happened.
Yeah, it went it was pretty great. Like once we got the lights and everything kicked on, we had there was a few hang-ups and everything, and I had to walk backstage like I own the place, which is funny because, and I always say this, wherever you're at, pretend like you're supposed to be there. Because or act like you're supposed to be there because other people will treat you as such. And this totally came into play. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh man, I always say this and it's happening right now. Oh my God, I'm gonna remember this. Right? So I go backstage, like security's there. There's kind of like look at me and nod. I'm like, what's up? And I just walk by like so many security people, all these people that's supposed to, that work there. And it's like, I just find the guy that happens to have like the guy that looks like he has the most authority, because we initially set it up with somebody who hooked us up and they threw the lights on and everything. And then once we're sitting there, I guess the people who were running the lights were like, look at these dicks getting on our stage, turn the lights off, bam, they shut it off right when we were about to start. And then I went backstage, did the whole like, I'm supposed to be here thing. And then I found the guy who has like, the guy had like an actual, like a remote handset, like a coiled remote hand, like the cops have, right? For his walkie-talkie. And I was all like, oh, this guy's clearly important, And he was talking to somebody else, and he was very loud. He was like, yeah, you guys gotta do this, and these guys, whatever. And I was like, oh, this is the guy. Totally. This is the fucking guy. I'm gonna talk to this guy, and we're good. And I went and I talked to him. I was like, yeah, we're trying to do this, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll hook you up. We go outside and we make it happen. And I was like, hey man, I really appreciate it. The lights are on and they're getting their stuff going and everything. And I was like, hey man, I really appreciate it. You like the stage manager? He's like, no, I just speak with confidence in my voice. Like I could have been talking to like a PA or something, Like he just happened to have a coiled headset and he just speaks with confidence in his voice, and it's like, oh, there you go.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, no, the entirety of the event was great. I actually I had an opportunity to see the trailer or the teaser for the Warcraft movie.
Yeah.
It was like at 9:30 at night on like Saturday or something.
Yeah, I went up there pretty late too. You probably got in right after me.
Oh man, I'm glad I did though, because there's the first part, and this is not available online anywhere, right?
No, it's not. The thing about movie companies is they really, really hate anything being released in some place that they don't have complete and total control over.
Okay.
Like, it was a big deal for us to be able to show that at BlizzCon, and they had to have like security people walking around with night vision goggles, making sure nobody was recording it and stuff like that.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The trailer was. I mean, it was the initial portions of it. I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, like action and everything, and they had like the montage of stuff, and then I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then he's like,
they had the shot. There was the sort of super like, oh, it gave me chills moment of when they had the shot moving over Stormwind, and like it suddenly hit me that was Stormwind, and I was like,
yeah, right, yeah, it was. And then it's funny because we gets to the end of that segment, that little teaser, and the guy's like, which by the way, they actually his lower third said, so and so, who is clearly reading from a teleprompter, but he's very tired, so it's okay, kind
Duncan
of thing
Jones.
or whatever. But he says, what do you say? He goes, oh, by the way, that was just a draft. Here's a look at what the final product looks like. And then they played that scene. There was a scene, and I don't remember like really the details of who or what, but
I think it was Duratan talking to Draka.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it was basically just more of an emotion piece where she's like sleeping or something like that, right? And she's like, I can feel your eyes on me or something like that. But he's obviously worried about her for some reason. But the look in his face, like it looked so good.
Yeah, you're like, this is just a person, a very misshapen person, but this is just a person.
Yes.
And like it's if they can deliver on that for all of the effect scenes that involve orcs in this, like I saw people tweeting about it before I went up there, and people were like, this is gonna move the bar for special effects in fantasy movies, and this is really setting things apart, the like new paradigm, blah blah. And I was like, it can't be that good. No, it is. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I was good for the first part. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, yeah. But man, that one, it was such a simple scene. All you saw was Jertan's face, and you know, you could see like in his eyes there was like some despair. And it's just like the thing is, like in most of these like CG, like heavily CG based movies, like you don't always get like the feeling, the emotion. And a lot of times what they'll do is like, and you see this too, is like they'll build a face around like some eyes or something, which it looks like they might have done, but I don't know if it's because they built a CG face around a set of eyes, or if they just have finally done it where they've nailed the look so you could see emotion in someone's entire face, instead of making it look, you know, like fake and just you know, the what is it called, the
uncanny valley.
Thank you, the uncanny valley. Yeah, well beyond that. Like it was really good.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for that movie. Just
Yes, please. It'll be great. I mean, if it all looks like you say, if it all looks like that, and people are saying, "Oh, it's gonna set the new bar," blah blah blah, for whatever, it's like if it all looks like that, yes, definitely. And it's also gonna bring, like, first off, everybody that's ever played WoW or a Warcraft game, is gonna watch it. But
which is a lot of people.
Yes. But then you're gonna snatch up like all the nerds who like don't care about WoW, but maybe they are big Lotro fans, or sorry, not Lotro, but you know, Lord of the Rings fans, or
especially since it's coming out after the last Hobbit movie, so like there isn't really more Lord of the Rings to look forward to. So there's gonna be a lot of people. I even saw this. I was doing a sentiment report on the Warcraft movie afterwards, which is this awesome little thing that I'd never even thought existed before. But it's where basically we find like articles about something. So in this case, it was the Warcraft movie teaser shown at BlizzCon. We found articles about it online, and I went through every single comment and marked down, is this positive, negative, or neutral sentiment? Like, does this person like it, or do they hate it? Which is something that's kind of crazy when you think about it, because that's a lot of work to go through and read all of those comments.
Yeah,
but like as I was looking through them, it's super cool. It's because like, I'm gonna sound like I'm a super Blizzard shill here for a second, but like it's because Blizzard actually really does care a lot about sentiment, a lot more than a lot of other companies do. And so they want to be able to say things like, they want to be able to go into a meeting where they're standing around executives and they're like, yes, and we unveiled the Warcraft teaser at BlizzCon, and it was met with 90% positive sentiment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's a bullet point that the executives care about.
Yeah.
But I was going through all of this, and there were so many people that were saying stuff like, well, I need a new fantasy series to look forward to. I hope they make sequels to this one because it's looking like it's going to be really good. And I was like, yay. especially with how long it took for this movie to actually start even being made, let alone now be in a state to show anything from it. Like they announced the Warcraft movie, what, like 2008?
Probably, yeah, like right? That? Yeah, like a long time ago.
That was a while ago, yeah. And it just started getting actually worked on like 2 years ago now. And now it's releasing sometime in 2015. I don't remember exactly when. Or did they say 2016? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Releasing sometime.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, just CYA, dude.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it, like they wrapped up filming like 5 or 6 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
And like you go, oh yeah, filming is done, so they got to be close now, right? And they're like, no, it's not going to come out for another 2 years after we're done with filming. and you're like, how could post production possibly take that long? And then you see that scene with the orc, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
This 30-second clip probably took 6 months to put together. So.
Oh my god, yeah, and who knows how long to render? Like half that time just to render.
Yeah.
To go back to your point about Blizzard caring about sentiment, I don't think that's you. Yeah, you say, oh yeah, it might come off as a shill, but like anybody who thinks that, like go back and watch the unveiling of Overwatch and watch Metzen. Like you can see he is visibly shaken. He is trying so hard to like keep together. You could tell he is super excited. If Blizzard didn't care much about what people think about their games, then they would just come out and be like, bitches, we're Blizzard, we got a new game. Yeah. And like he'd do his voice and then like that'd be it, right?
Yeah, do like the typical like walking out on stage and just, hey everybody, we're here to announce our new IP Overwatch. Everybody shouts, the thing plays or whatever. Yeah. But no, like he's up there, and this is a like Overwatch is something that he has been working on for like that whole the IP itself, not necessarily the game Overwatch, but like the IP behind it, is something that he's been working on for ages. And like to keep something like that under wraps for as long as that is, and then finally be able to talk about it, like it's like if you're a secret agent and you're doing all this super awesome spy shit that you can't tell your friends, and then eventually finally you retire and you're not worried about it anymore, and it's been like 10 years of being a secret agent, and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, so all those times that I said that I was going to Las Vegas for the weekend, I was actually like jumping out of airplanes in Bosnia or something.
Oh man.
And then nobody believes you, but
yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
In this case, fortunately, there was like a movie that showed that we actually had a thing.
Which was really good. It was actually
oh
really
man, that's
good.
Cinematic. Oh, it gives me chills. I've seen it a few times now. When they were first showing it, like when I first saw it, it was in this like internal company like, hey, show off what you've been working on sort of thing. And it was like super rough cut, like storyboarded. There was maybe a scene that was fully rendered.
That was actually rendered. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And like just watching the storyboard, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. And then they finally like unveil the whole thing, and it was pretty amazing. I was really happy with it. Like the little touches in it too, like the security guard playing Hearthstone.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, man, and you know, I don't think they could have found voice actors to like nail a true English accent as much as they did with Tracer. That was really good.
It's definitely a bit iffy on the English accent there.
Here's the thing: accents aside, cutest character. Like overall, like I mean, just like presentation, like it was like, oh man, like the way she presented herself with like the cliche-ness of her character.
Yeah,
it was so perfectly delivered. And like somebody even said, which totally redeemed everything, right? It was like, well, not redeemed for me because I was sold on the character. I think everyone's sold on Tracer. Somebody says, oh no, the backstory is, and I don't even know if this is true, but I'm gonna go and say it's true. She is pretending to have an English accent because of like because of whatever, like she wants to be this character that she's not or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, I'm going with that, and we're good.
Yeah,
which is it's perfect. But no, it's like the whole thing was like it was really good. It was a joy. I watched it the second time. I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this again. Oh yeah, when I was watching the movie upstairs, right? They played it again. It's like, oh, I don't know if I watched it again. It was I was hooked immediately again.
Yeah,
and it was great.
Yeah, for sure. The game is so much fun to play too. Did you get a chance to play it at all?
Oh yeah. I played it not as much as some, but played it probably like 4 times, something like that. I kept going to the dude. I forget his name, but he was kind of like a knight. He had a big ass hammer. And
Reinhardt.
Yeah, thank you, Reinhardt. Yeah, and he had like a deployable shield, not deployable, but he hold out his shield and he could walk with it.
And he could charge people and one shot them.
Yes, like the pinning thing. Yeah, I know, right? It was awesome just to walk around with a big ass hammer while everyone has guns. It's like, nope. Bah!
Yeah. Well, like I think a lot of people are obviously going to draw correlations between Overwatch and TF2, but it's like, what made World of Warcraft popular? Well, it was EverQuest, but improved in a lot of ways. I feel like Overwatch is, yeah, it definitely has some very strong roots in games like TF2. There's definitely some very heavy, like they even have a mode called Payload where you push a bomb around.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's obviously drawing a lot of influence from TF2, but TF2 is like a 10-year-old game at this point itself. Like,
well, people have said that about like every
yeah.
like franchise that Blizzard has done. Like it's like something gets popular and they're like, oh, well, there was this other thing that wasn't quite as popular. It's the same thing. It's like, okay,
yeah,
it's like that exists in every front.
Yeah, and I think the reason that it happens, actually, this is actually something that they were talking about in the WoW documentary. Did you get to see the WoW documentary at all?
I have not seen the whole thing. I was actually gonna wait and make my wife watch it. But yeah, go on.
It's really good. I was impressed with it. I also helped work on it a little bit. A lot of the in-game footage was stuff that I captured.
Oh, that's me. That's my dude right there.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, they were talking about the reason that stuff like that happens when they're going through the WoW documentary and talking about like why they ended up making WoW. It wasn't because they sat back and said, we're going to make an MMORPG now. It's because they were working on this other game called Nomad, which never happened. And they scrapped that. And when they scrapped that, they were like, well, we're playing tons of EverQuest right now.
Yeah.
We should make a game like this. And it really just comes down to the teams at Blizzard, like, they make games that they want to play.
Yep.
First and foremost. It's not like something where they sit back and go, oh, MMORPGs are popular right now. We should make an MMORPG, because they really weren't at the time.
Yeah.
Or first-person shooters are really popular right now, because they kind of aren't at the moment. Like, we should make a first-person shooter. We should make TF2 again. But no, it's just super cool, like that's how things come out, and I think it really ends up showing in the final product as well. Like even the new WoW expansion there's definitely issues with the new WoW expansion.
But, oh my god!
But oh my god, Pound Fist.
Oh.
But like it's in my opinion, at least the questing and level up experience is easily the best that has been in the game so far. And it's just because like there was a ton of work that happened and stuff, like whole zones getting scratched and started over again. Like you remember in the Mists beta when they like redid Jade Forest? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah. They redid like the entire flow, like everything actually with it. Yes,
yeah,
I do remember that.
It started out like Horde and Alliance sort of doing the same thing and then meet up at this area, and then they were like, no, this isn't working, and they redid like half of the zone. More than that went into redoing like at least three of the I'm trying to think now. I think it was actually 5 of the zones in Draenor.
Yeah.
They just went, we're not going to do it. It's because of what they were calling the orc situation. Like,
oh yeah, I did recall. I think I saw that part of like maybe the documentary, or maybe it was like a Q&A or something like that. The orc situation is hilarious.
Yeah, like just talking about. I think it was actually an interview with.
Oh yeah, it was an interview that we did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't want to come out and say that's what I was thinking was. I didn't want to come out and say it just in case, because I didn't actually remember where I'd seen it.
Yeah, it's with the last name that I cannot pronounce.
Alex Afraziabi.
Thank you so much. I would have slotted. I was going to say African Zimbabwe, and like that would not have worked out.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. I googled it, it didn't come up.
But yeah, like they were playing the zones, and like we were getting ready to launch the internal alpha and everything, and like I don't know if you remember, there was a point where we gave out like the internal alpha patch notes, like well in advance of the alpha actually coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It was because we thought it was coming out in like 2 days. But what happened was, like, they had the go no go meeting where they sit back and say, okay, are we okay with pushing this out? And the result of that meeting was there are way too many goddamn orcs in this expansion. This is not fun. We don't want to play this. We need to redo like half of this expansion right now. And that's what they did. They went in, they completely redid Frostfire and Shadow Moon. And they redid a bunch of other stuff too. And like obviously that means that it then took a lot longer for the game to actually come out.
Yeah.
Which sucked for being on Siege of Orgrimmar for a year. But a year plus, it was like 14 months or something.
It's something that it's actually it still feels like we're still on schedule. It's like every 2 years we're getting something. Yeah.
There was a lot of issues that led to Siege of Orgrimmar. Like something that Ian Hazakostas has been saying a lot lately is, if we'd have known that we were going to be stuck on Siege of Orgrimmar for 14 months, we would have paced the rest of the content a lot better.
Yeah.
So that it was 8 months on Siege of Orgrimmar and a little bit longer on the other instances and stuff. And that's part of why the second raid in Warlords of Draenor is being delayed as much as it is, just to make sure that we don't, like, here's a whole ton of raid content, everybody go out, consume all this raid content immediately, okay.
Oh, I know, right?
Now we have nothing for you for the next...
First 25 100s with the first 24 hours, and the first raid cleared 24 hours after that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the pacing actually makes a lot of sense. I feel like, I mean, as somebody who plays, well, it's hard for me to say, like, how much I play, because I spend a lot of my time in the freaking garrisons. But... like right now, I'm basically just accumulating PvP gear. I go out, I do a little bit of Ashran, which, by the way, is like it's so Ashran is so well done. I have to compare obviously to Tolbarad, which was basically just like running circles, and then I've always wanted like an Aldrich Valley, and I feel like I kind of have this really great open world feeling Aldrich Valley where I have these kind of side goals. We could spawn bosses or spawn like large mobs, whatever. And then there's like these events. Like I'm in Ashran, and then I run around, and then there's like I'm basically called to go and hang out with two dudes that are racing on giant mammoths. Like one horde, one alliance. I have to stay in a circle to help them go faster. It's basically kind of like the payload situation, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'm just doing like this stuff. What's that?
That not to sidetrack you, but that particular event, the racing event. We did an Ashran live stream a while back where like I had an observer mode sort of that I was flying around with, and we were just showing stuff off. And that event is so much fun to watch when it happens, and there's people like as long as both factions are there actually doing the event. It's so much because the two, they're on opposite paths, so the two racers are going opposite directions around the track so that they run into each other. And so what was happening when we were doing this live stream, because we were live streaming, we were on beta, there was a ton of people logging in because they wanted to be part of the stream. And so immediately we went over there to watch this, and there was just a ton of people over there. And these two racers would be going around, and like it would be quiet. Everybody's just standing by their racer, making him go faster. Then they would hit each other, just be like this massive fight breaks out. People dying left and right. Like you see the little text popping up saying 5 slain, 5 slain, 5 slain.
Exactly.
Yeah, over and over and over again. And then like one of them, like both of the racers almost immediately stop moving entirely because half of the people are dead now. And then one team is kind of like, okay, no, we're recovering. And they like run off, and they sort of split up again. Like it doesn't end with one side is completely dead. It ends with, oh crap, our racer is getting away. We have to go catch back up with our racer and make him go faster, which means that it just happens again in like 20 seconds. It was really, really fun to watch. They're still working a lot on balancing out Ashran to make doing those side events more important. Because like right now, one of the problems that we're having is like one faction will push the other faction up into their base and then just stay there farming it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's happening right now. For me, it's thankfully Horde is the one doing all the work.
Yeah, that's the way it's been on my server too. Is Horde is pushed all the way up into the alliance base, and part of that has already sort of been quote unquote fixed, in that the reward for killing the opposing faction leader has been reduced a lot.
Okay.
It's now like 50 honor instead of 500 honor, which is a pretty substantial nerf. And I think that people are still doing it right now just because they're still doing it right now. I think once the reset happens and people can say, okay, I have stuff to do in Ashran again, I think it'll make that, like, getting that end kill a little bit less important, which I think is good, because like the fighting in the middle is sort of there to be fighting in the middle. It's not really there to be the whole point of the zone.
Yeah. There's like events that are constantly happening, like all over the map, and you have to run over there to participate.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get like a little chest when it's done.
Yeah. Well, and plus the fact that there's no PvP season going on right now. There was a bug for a little while where people were getting Conquest out of that. That got fixed, and the Conquest is going to get removed. But once this PvP season actually starts, you can get Conquest points from doing the stuff in there. and it'll become more like people will be more interested in doing the events at that point because they can get conquest points out of it, which is a little bit more important than the handful of honor you might get or whatever.
So a handful. Okay, so hold on a second. So bit just to wrap up the previous point. Essentially, casually playing, focusing primarily on PvP stuff, having not done a single dungeon, not one. I have managed to almost get a full set of PvP gear, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. Like I'm feeling pretty accomplished. Like I have a whole, like almost all of my followers are 100. I think I'm only missing like a handful or something like that you get from Nagra, and I haven't actually gone through it yet to do all those quests. But like the ways that all the different ways that you could go and get honor, like as long as you pay attention to what you have to do in order to do it, which is like you have to be an idiot not to find them. It's just like you just start rolling in it. Like honestly, the Gladiator Sanctum is huge. It is huge. Go kill a bunch of people. And here's the thing: before I hit level 100, which I wish I'd have known this, okay, I assumed that the kills in Ashran wouldn't count because I was like, oh yeah, there's no way I'd be swimming in broken bones if that was the case, right? And if they do, and you do end up swimming in broken bones, but I was hanging out at quest hubs. Like just like fighting people. Like I was like quest hub, just sitting there, just do, and like it depends depending on what level area I was at. It was like, okay, let me just remove my high warlord title. let me get off of my PvP mount and jump onto like I don't know, a pink strider or something. I don't even know, like something like really simple and just whatever. And then let me just slash AFK. I was doing that and grinding out. I had like in one like period of fighting where I was basically sitting there and just getting in tons of fights, like I amassed like 60 bones, which you figure at a quest hub 60 bones is pretty impressive. But turning him into the Gladiator Sanctum and then getting all the honor from that and all the gear and everything, like it's just like it feels good. Like the pacing is working for me. Like every time I get on and I do something, I'm accomplishing something. I'm not like getting on and just like wasting my time. Nothing happened. I got nothing from this session. I'm getting stuff. And it's so incremental. Like there's primal aspirant.
And then the aspirant's gear, and then the
combatant gear.
Gear, which is the honor gear.
Yeah, exactly. So like I got the aspirant gear first, and then I started getting all the combat gear, and I don't have all combat gear yet. I'm like 608 item level. Obviously, when you're in PvP, it goes up to like 1,000 or something. I don't know, but it just feels good. Like the pacing, I'm really pleased as a PvPer. Like I'm really pleased with the pacing of how things are going right now, especially since the season hasn't started yet.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice to, like, especially during 6.0, people were really, really, really worried about how gearing up was going to be in Warlords for PvP, because it sucks to not get to that first baseline in a hurry. Yeah. Because until you're at that first step, you suck. Like, you just get annihilated all the time, and it's not fun. And so getting into Warlords, having the aspirant's gear be so easily available, especially if you have a Gladiator Sanctum. If you don't, then it's still pretty easy to come by. But if you have a Gladiator Sanctum, you can literally go to Ashran for 20 minutes, get enough bones to have just like constant work orders coming in, AFK, like do something else for a while. You can run skirmishes or battlegrounds too, but like you don't have to do anything. Log on the next morning, and there's half a set of PvP gear just waiting for you. Yep. So it's really cool how quickly you can actually get. Like I haven't done a single battleground or skirmish in this expansion yet.
Same.
Just because I've been working on other stuff.
Yep.
And I have let's see, I'm actually still logged in. Let me check here. I'm missing a neck piece and a back piece, and I'll have a full set of PvP gear. And I have 2,300 honor that I'm just sitting on also, that I could easily go buy at least one of those with. So
I am missing boots and a ring. I think I pretty much have everything else. Yep. It is a combination of combatant and an aspirant, but like still,
for sure.
It's so easy to get that. And you know what's funny? It reminds me of like beginning of Cataclysm, when I was like, all right, I need to start getting viable, and it was. Well, obviously there was the 1,800 honor Tolbarad thing, which was kind of amusing, but it's still there was a grind there to begin, just to be viable.
Yeah, just to not get immediately annihilated as soon as you stepped into a BG.
Yeah, and now it's like it's good. It's perfect. I think it's good. Yeah. I think it's a good way of getting everybody into a baseline, because I like good fights. And sometimes I want to wreck somebody and just make their day miserable, right? But at the same time, it's like I do appreciate a good fight when I'm fighting somebody for like 4 minutes or something, one-on-one. Because I'm like tagging other mobs, like weaker mobs, and killing them so I can get my health refresh up. It's like it's worth it. If I lose, it was worth it. It was a good fight.
The other thing
helps level that.
Yeah, and the other nice thing about it is that the item level differences between the different sort of like tiers of PvP gear. So there's the aspirant gear, there's the combatant gear, and then there will be the gladiator's gear for conquest once that's available. And it's only like a 15 eye level difference between each step. Whereas in Mists, in the most recent season, when you were getting, was it 550 gear for your, like, it was 522 for the honor gear, and then 550 for the conquest gears, which is a pretty big difference. It's like what, 28 item levels, something like that. To have it only be 15 item levels in between, like, it still feels good to get an upgrade. You still feel like, okay, I had this aspirant piece and I want to buy an honor piece to replace that. Like, it's still, you still see your character improving, but it's not by so much that if you're in aspirant gear, you're going to get dominated by people in combatant gear. Like, you can still outplay them, especially in something like a BG.
Yeah, and there's also like a soft tier above that. Once you get like maxed out in just in whatever gear you're in, there's always like that soft tier, which is basically going and getting gemmed, getting enchanted, and getting whatever else, like just basically getting yourself set up so that you can maximize whatever it is that you're going for. Yeah,
and in fact, if you're in the honor gear or the aspirant gear, but it's more important for the honor gear, those pieces can actually be warforged. Not the ones that you buy off the vendor, but like when you get a random drop piece through the Gladiator Sanctum or through the strong boxes from winning PvP and stuff, they can be warforged, which makes them a little bit better. I think it's like 6 item levels better, or they can have a socket on them, or I think they can have tertiary stats. I'm not sure. So there's still those that can't happen with the conquest gear, because obviously for competitive PvP you want everybody to be on the same level.
Yeah, makes sense.
But for the honor gear, it's something where you can say, okay, I'm not doing serious arenas, I'm not doing serious RBGs or anything like that. I'm not really working on capping conquest every week. But there are still these upgrades that I can get. It just sort of it feels nice to have that shot at still getting an upgrade. Once you're at that point of, I'm not really going to go any farther with this character in terms of the type of content that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But now there's a reason for me to keep doing BGs despite being in full honor gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's been good. I mean, garrisons has been the thing that, and this actually all stemmed from the conversation of like pushing the first tier of rating back. I feel like there's so many things to do right now. If you're doing that, if you don't like garrisons and you don't like PvP, you'd have dungeons. Fine, that's what you have. Which I believe there's plenty of dungeons to go around right now. But I mean, the thing is, like, the gear, the content is there to be consumed. Like, do garrisons. If you're not doing garrisons, why are you playing like WoW right now? It's fucking good.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things and important things that I've noticed, like from the perspective of somebody who's watching community feedback constantly, before Warlords came out, there were a ton of people going, if I don't want to do garrisons, I shouldn't have to. Since Warlords has come out, I have actually not seen a single complaint along those lines. I'm sure they're happening somewhere, but they're happening so much less frequently that none of them have popped up in the areas that I pay attention to. And I think it's just because the way that they're implemented in the game is something that people don't feel like they're being forced into.
Yes.
Like, yes, technically in order to do a lot of stuff in the game, you have to have a garrison. But like, that's like saying, in order to continue breathing, you have to be around oxygen. Like, it's not exactly hard to come by.
Yeah, it's I think for some people it ended up being just like a place to hearth to, like it's just a bonus Hearthstone.
Yeah, for sure. And
which
like
is on a super short cast time, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to say the Hearthstone for your garrison is like 5 seconds or something. I feel like it's
5 seconds.
Shorter. Yeah, it's much shorter than a regular Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Can you like bubble hearth with that if you're a pally?
I think you can actually.
God damn.
But yeah, like if you don't care about the follower missions, then you don't have to do the follower missions. Like you can potentially miss out on some stuff. And if you're a mythic hardcore raider pushing for server first and stuff, you will feel forced into it. That's that's an entirely different discussion. I feel like there's some hard decisions to make in terms of what are mythic hardcore raiders going to feel forced into versus what's going to be stuff for everyone else to do,
right?
Sort of thing. And the fact of the matter is, like, doing follower missions takes seconds out of your day. Like it doesn't take much time at all. So that's one of the, I think, the important things that's different philosophically in terms of the design between garrisons and like the farm in Mists. The farm in Mists was a pain in the ass because it was created with the design philosophy of this is optional content for people that want to do it. And ended up not really being so optional. So they fleshed out this thing that was like, if you like doing the farm, we want to make sure that there's tons of the farm for you to do. And then people that didn't really like doing the farm but felt like they had to because of all the stuff that you could get out of it, it was a pain in the ass.
Right.
With garrisons, they went from the beginning and said, no, we're going to design this in a way that a lot of people are going to feel forced into. So let's make sure that the stuff that they're forced into doing isn't a huge pain in the ass. And I don't know, I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like it's so easy to get in there and get like your materials and stuff like that in order to. So here's the thing, like look at mining. Just isolate mining for a minute. You every day you log in and it's like doing a daily, right? You run in and you mine everything up, which after your first day of mining, you're gonna get buffs that makes like the next 3 times you do this much faster. You could run faster, and then of course you can mine the things faster. So it takes you like all of maybe 5 minutes to actually clear out your mine, and then you're gonna get a whole bunch of Dranic stone, and then you're gonna turn that into the guy at the front, and you're gonna say, okay, here's 5 work orders worth of stone. Boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave, and then tomorrow I come back, and now I have a ton more ore or whatever, like just waiting for me, true iron and whatnot. And then I could take that stuff and I could turn it into whatever else. Like if I'm a blacksmith or whatever, then it's like, great. I'm basically being fed tons of resources. I feel like way more than I would have gotten in any previous expansion. Like I can't remember any expansion where I've gone through and spent 5 minutes a day to get like probably 20 to 25 resources worth of pieces of an individual resource. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Running circles looking for the little stupid dot on my map to show up so I know where to go and get get a node. Like that sucked. Getting that stupid rainbow ore that I got what was that called?
I don't even remember.
It was some ore like a Cataclysm that had like it was like a rainbow color. I forget what it's called. The icon was, but I got like a ton of it and I saved it and it was in my bank for a long time. I was like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be rich. And then the shit just fell off the map and like no one cared about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So I prospected all of it for nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, that time sucked.
Yeah, and it's cool too that like in terms of like making your own like so professions are now in a place where you can make most of the stuff that you care about in professions without even having the profession. Like you can build the enchanting building or whatever and you can do most of the enchants from that. But B, like on my main character, which I've been playing my monk is my only level 100 at the moment. I have alchemy at 129. I have enchanting at 93. I just picked those up like last week, and I've been able to make all of the stuff that I need for when the raids open and I start going into raiding. I can make all of my own potions and flasks and enchants. That's no problem.
Yeah,
like you don't need to if you want to have that stuff done. It's not a huge pain in the ass to actually do it. And I haven't gathered a thing except for the stuff in my garrison. I get enough stuff from my garrison. Like, the only reason to get a gathering profession and go out in the world and gather that stuff is if you want to sell those to people that are trying to make money off of it. Cool. If you just want to take care of your own stuff, you don't have to worry about that. Your garrison sort of takes care of it for you. So
yeah, it makes you more like. I feel like the days of camping trade for plus 15 agility to one-handed weapon is done. Like that. Like that in particular, like I bring that up because I have done that so many times for like my twin characters. It was a huge pain in the ass. When you find somebody, you friend them and you write their name down on a notepad just in case that friend list gets like removed because this is like a rare gem. This is I believe you could only have gotten that through like Encourage or something. Like it was an enchant that was just basically rare. But the thing is, like,
one was. It's totally not important, but I think that one came from like the reputation, the furbolgs in
oh yeah, probably
Felwood. Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like the days of camping trade for stuff to be relevant. Because at the time, plus 15 agility on your dagger was like you needed that.
Yeah.
And so it was like that day is basically gone, and I'm glad because I don't want to sit there and camp trade. It's not fun for me. The way we're at now, it's like, I have an engineering thing set up, which I love. I have a glider, which has come in handy so many times. I have a thing that puts a shield around me that absorbs like basically I would say a fifth of my total health, but I'm prot, so it's kind of exaggerated, but it's like 40 something thousand. I have a rocket thing that I can fire that does like 50,000 damage. I have a hologram generator thing that I can activate every once in a while. Drops a hologram, which, by the way, is not as cool as I thought it would be. I don't know if you could send that up to upper ups, but I'm just saying. But there's like the thing is like the handful of gadgets that I have access to right now is in terms of like for world PvP and for War Spear and everything. Like it's what I need. Like it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I think, just as an aside, I think it's awesome, given how I've been spending my last couple of weeks, that we can be sitting here and talking about Warlords and all the stuff you can do in it, and we haven't yet mentioned how shitty the launch was. Like, I think we should talk about it, but I just want to preface this by saying I think it's awesome that that's so like behind us and out of mind at this point.
Yeah, right. And that's what usually happens. But honestly, like it's not the launch was fine. It was when everybody got off work at 3:00 the next day.
Yeah,
like everything was fine. And here's how I know this, because we have this show called Friday Update Arcade. And we wrote an entire script and everything on Thursday morning, as a matter of fact. Then Lindsay, she filmed it, and she was playing WoW all night just with the rest of us, and everything was fine. And then she filmed it all all afternoon and into the evening and everything, and then we edited it and everything. We had it all ready. We put it on Friday. In the episode, we talked about how well and how smooth the launch has been, because for most of us, it was fine. Again, at midnight PST. All the way through 3:00 PST the following day. When we released that episode, that was when we're now 12 hours out where like people couldn't get on. There was like things not spawning. Like there was a couple issues here and there with like the stupid Master Surveyor thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it was like
that kept the entire horde stuck for like 3 hours.
I have a picture somewhere. It's so beautiful.
I don't think it was quite that long. It was like an hour and a half. But
it wasn't that long actually. You guys were all over it. But still, it's like,
well, an hour and a half is still quite a long time.
There was a period there where it was like everything was actually fine. It wasn't until you started to really see the influx of people, and we saw it in traffic too on Wowhead. Like it just spiked that first night. It was bad. I mean, like bad in a good way, of course, but it was crazy.
Yeah. It was definitely an interesting little while. We had the Master Surveyor bug, and that was the first thing where we were like, oh crap, there's too many people playing our game sort of thing started happening. Like the sort of issues that we started running into, a lot of it, like, and it's always tough to get this across to people, like especially through Twitter in 140 characters, when they're mad because they can't play the game that they just bought. Which is totally reasonable. Like, if you just bought a game, you should expect that you're able to play it.
Yeah.
And we were having all these problems and people with, like, long-ass queues. And a lot of the actual issues we were running into were just caused by too many people trying to do something at once. Like, so the garrison is actually... there's this new technology called Seamless Instance technology, which it's sort of like phasing, but it actually, like, zones you into your own instance just by walking into the garrison. And it's super cool because it makes it like you can see your garrison from a distance. There's nothing weird like, oh, we have to go through a portal and a loading screen to get into this. But it does actually load you into an instance. And the same thing happens in a few of the quests. Like early on, there's a quest in the Horde quest chain where you have to go up and start fighting the Bladespire ogres in Bladespire Fortress. And there's a part of that where you actually go into a seamless instance. And there were so many goddamn people loading into those seamless instances that like the instance servers were like, we're full. We have run out of space for more instances. We cannot spin up any more garrisons. And so that was causing the weird issues with like, I'm in my garrison and there's 40 other people here and stuff like that.
Ooh, it's a party in my garrison. But wait, it's my garrison. No, it was my garrison. Yeah,
exactly. There was so many issues, and so people are like, how come none of this came up in testing? It's like, because we didn't have 10 million people playing our game in testing. So that was fun. There was the issues like the Master Surveyor, and honestly, a lot of these issues were stuff that should have been caught ahead of time. Part of it was, like, it was more that they shouldn't have been put that way in the first place, but people accidentally flag things wrong when they're making quests, and you generally would expect if I put something in the game wrong, it will come up in testing. So if this never comes up in testing, like specifically some of the issues we were running into were things where multiple people couldn't use an object at the same time.
Yes.
And in beta, even when we were doing like the Tanan stress testing and stuff, like the cages that you have to open in like the 5th or 6th quest in Tanan, only one person could use them at the time. In beta, when we were doing the stress testing, there were like 6 or 7 people hitting those all at once. Like we had this whole big, like, we're gonna get tons of people in here, but we still only got enough to have like 6 or 7 people hitting those at once, which meant that you generally weren't waiting long enough to care about it. You weren't waiting long enough to actually report it and say there's a problem here.
That makes sense. Yeah.
On live, when there's 50 people all going through the same, 100 people all going through the same thing at the same time,
and your APM's at like 3,000.
Yeah, you're all just standing there like clicking on this, spam clicking on it like crazy, trying to get it to actually load in. That's when you start having problems that you go, oh crap, we didn't realize that these weren't set up to be able to have multiple people using them at the same time. And so like they started hot fixing like immediately, like how can we hot fix this sort of thing, because there's hot fixes are weird. Some stuff you can do, some stuff you can't. Can we hot fix these to be usable by multiple people at the same time? And that's actually what ended up happening with the Master Surveyor, was only one person could use it at a time, which is bad. And everybody had to use it, and especially since there wasn't any multiple instancing going on there, it was like every single horde
and also
character.
You couldn't see the Master Surveyor because everyone was on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. So like as everybody was getting there, it was piling up, and they were getting on their mounts. Yeah, it was a mess. So they put in a hot
go
fix.
check out that noise. I must have heard that like 60 times.
People started people started dropping the trains. They actually hot fixed the train out of the game because it was making things so much worse.
Thank God.
But yeah, they actually put in a hot fix to make the Master Surveyor usable by multiple people, and something about it broke. I don't know exactly how it happened, because I'm not on those particular teams, so I don't know exactly what causes it. But something about that hotfix, the same hotfix that they'd put in to make the cages usable by multiple people, didn't work on the Master Surveyor, and instead made it so that nobody could use it. And then, to make matters worse, the hotfix wouldn't revert. Like, we couldn't pull it off. So they ended up having to code an entire new hotfix, which just said, okay, screw the Master Surveyor itself. Anybody that gets close to this area, we just complete the quest for them.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I thought you guys said it was like, so I ditched the quest, and then I went back, and it was like, put on. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, it's still broken at this point. Like, they still have to have that. You have to, actually, I don't know. You might be able to click on the Master Surveyor now, because there's been a bunch of realm restarts since then.
And because there's not 1,000 people sitting on it right now, maybe.
Yeah, sure. But like the thing was, the problem before, like the problem for about 15 minutes was there's too many people sitting on this thing, so I can't see it to click on it.
Yeah.
The problem for an hour and a half after that was, we can't click on this at all. It's impossible to interact with this item, and we can't get this damn hotfix to revert for some reason. So everyone's just like, shit. What do we do? So that was super broken. But yeah, like it was crazy. Like we started Like we were looking at like we started getting DDoSed, and like you could see that. On
the DDoS thing on top of
Viking.
everything else.
But, yeah, and the thing about it was like the DDoS. There was DDoSing happening. It hit EU harder than it hit NA realms, and there was the DDoSing that was actually handled pretty well. Like in NA, there had been a bunch of like DDoSing attempts in the not too distant past, so like all of the DDoS mitigation stuff was already up to date. That was slated to be done in Europe, but hadn't been done yet. So they had to like move that time frame up a whole bunch and be like, okay, we got to get all this DDoS prevention in place. And after that, like there was still these DDoSing that were happening, but like it was all getting mitigated pretty well. And so people started going, it's not the DDoS. You're not getting DDoS, Blizzard. We know you're not getting DDoS. Like never mind that it was easily visible on the internet. You're not getting DDoS, Blizzard. You're just lying to us because your servers don't work. And then like we were looking at it, we were like, what is going on? Holy crap, there are so many people trying to log in right now.
Like like on top of the DDoS issues that were getting mitigated, you were getting almost DDoS by like the actual people trying to get on at the same time. Spamming exactly. play now. Yeah,
you can get a botnet with 250,000 servers to ping. That's cool and all. We sold 3.3 million copies of the game or something like that. Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like the sort of thing about people saying like, oh, you shouldn't have sold that many copies. A lot of those were digital. Like, should we have turned off the ability to buy the game digitally? That seems weird.
I feel like that's happened once before in Blizzard's lifetime, where you've actually disabled
maybe
digital downloads. But it's
like, obviously it's something like obviously it was an issue that happened, so Blizzard should have been more prepared for that.
Yeah. Stop selling copies.
Yeah, or something like make sure that we're more prepared for the amount of copies that were sold and stuff. And that's why eventually like J. Allen Brack had that post that he made, which was like, hey, we fucked up. Sorry. Here's 5 free days of playtime. And it was cool how immediately everyone was like, oh, well, they admitted to it. They're giving us this game time back. Cool. Like I was expecting I was expecting the response to that to still be super negative because people were still super pissed off. But in reality, it was just people that wanted to play the game. And so having that apology and having that compensation given was enough for the vast majority of people. They went, you know what? We appreciate that we're not getting ripped off out of this. We're going to get that game time back, and we'll get in there eventually and be able to play it, sort of thing. Yeah, I thought the community response to that was really, really super cool.
It was. And here's the thing, like, I can't imagine, like, I just from like a business perspective, it's like if you were to say, hey, I got this game that's 10 years old and I'm going to release DLC for it, right? Like to the average bystander, it's like the average like business guy, it's like, well, that's probably like a Silverlight Mini, right? If World of Warcraft's like, well, I don't know. I mean, based off the MoP did not do as good as what you're doing right now. And I'm saying that from the perspective of a fan site, like our traffic is way better than MoP. And it's actually, I think it's like right on the cusp of Cataclysm as it stands right now. But that's the thing. It's like looking at that and saying like, for you guys to be prepared for something, like you guys don't know what to be prepared for. You guys do all this great content every single expansion, right? It's not like you guys are doing less work necessarily. You just hit something that resonated with people, and you didn't expect it to resonate that fucking loudly. Yeah,
for sure. Like obviously Blizzard is very happy about the response to the expansion. It's just like we had estimates for how many people we thought were going to play. We prepared for well over that estimate, and we were so wrong.
What a terrible, terrible problem to have.
Oh yeah. And it was nuts. Like I ended up going in over the weekend, as we were saying earlier, like I hadn't had a weekend off in a couple of weeks because I was going into the office over the weekend and just sitting on a conference call with like everybody at Blizzard. And just people constantly giving updates, talking about the stuff they were trying to do. They managed to spin together this technology that had no idea if it was going to work or not. It was like Zam, like Overwatch King level of we're just going to shit this.
Thanks, bro. But yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. Overwatch band, Apple Watch. Apple Watch.
There you go. We've come full circle.
Yeah. But no, it was seriously like we had this technology that they were using on Tanan to split it into 2 Tanans because they knew there was going to be a ton of people in Tanan. Then it turned out there was a ton of people in the rest of Draenor also. And they managed to spin together this tech for the rest of Draenor. Like one zone, one little, basically, like it's no bigger than an instance, the little Tanan area that you're in. That one zone having this tech. Okay, cool. There's been technology to make multiple instances of an instance-sized zone since the game came out. Suddenly applying that to an entire continent in the span of like 2 days was nuts. Oh, and it got to the point where servers were able to hold I forget exactly what the numbers that they said were. I think they
millions.
Just
Let's just say millions.
Well, like an individual server was able to hold nearly twice as many people as a result of this than it ever has in WoW history. Like ever before. Servers right now can hold almost twice as many people as they could before Warlords of Draenor launched. And that they just pulled together in like 2 days. Like, what? You've doubled server capacity in 2 days. How have you done this? But
they had 3,650 days to do this before. Where have they been this whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it totally is something that should have been done before the expansion launched. But
you don't know you need it, though. That's the thing. That's the thing. It happens the same thing with us. It's like we don't know we need certain things. Like, we knew that Garrisons was going to be a big part of, and speaking from the perspective of Wowhead, right? We knew as Wowhead that Garrisons was going to be a big deal. We did not know that we would need so many guides built that we would actually have to build a hub page for it. We did not know that so many people there would be enough people to create a demand for an app that would actually manage the timers.
Yeah.
In conjunction with an in-game add-on, so that you can actually manage and see, know when to log back on or switch over to your alt or whatever. We didn't know that was going to be there until after the game launched. And it's funny because even internally, we had people were like even saying why didn't you know? Like, these are people who maybe are not, they're kind of exam-wide and not necessarily just on Wowhead. They're like, well, why didn't you know that, we're going to have this? Why are we jumping through all these hoops right now? It's like, that's because we did not know. We could not have predicted that this would happen. These are the things that just arise from the demand that's created from these games. We have to react accordingly. And it's been, obviously, we're on 2 different sides here, right? Like, we're reacting to the tools that people need for the site. And it's been nuts for us.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why, we've been gone. It's like for one reason or another, one of us is tied up doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just been nuts.
It's been a crazy few weeks.
The one thing I did not expect to be impacted by this was r/WoW.
That was interesting. That was a situation.
That was not something at all that I expected to fall victim to all of this stuff. It's funny.
It's always such a positive community. I love r/WoW. Of the game Reddits that I follow, it is by far the most positive. It's just a bunch of people that play WoW and want to talk to each other about how they play WoW. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's total. And every once in a while, there'll be something like, Blizzard has screwed this thing up, which happens. Blizzard screws things up from time to time. For example, Warlords launch. And there was lots of threads in there about it at the time, but at the same time, there was a ton of people just going, oh no, I got into the game, and after I sat through the queue, this is the best expansion I've ever played, and just still being in terms of the overall community feedback at the time, which was just super negative because there was tons of people waiting in the queue. It was funny. As people were getting past their queue, they started playing the game, which meant they stopped posting on the forums. Which meant that people on the forums were convinced that the entire population of World of Warcraft was unable to get into the game because there wasn't anybody on the forums saying, yes, I'm online right now, I'm playing. But yeah, even in the face of all the super negative feedback coming in constantly, r/WoW was still mostly positive.
Yeah.
Until it went private.
I was I went to r/WoW and I was all like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I didn't go to like r/nsfw, you know, like or something that required some kind of like click here in order to enter. I mean, honestly, I wasn't even here for the whole deal, but it was like still like to see that it was down. It was like, what just happened?
Yeah, basically
200,000 people, I think, right?
Yeah, basically the head moderator at the time, who's not there anymore, he stepped down after this whole ordeal. But the head moderator at the time was like, I can't get into the game, which at the first point, like, so the day after launch, he was like, I can't get in the game, and if I can't get into the game in 24 hours, I'm going to set our WoW to private. And everyone was like, what? Why would you ever do that? That's such a nuts thing to do. And he was like, well, I'm pretty sure that it's not actually going to happen. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get into the game by tomorrow. Turns out he was playing on one of the like 6 servers that still had a queue by the 3rd day after launch.
Oh man.
And he wasn't able to get in, so he's like, okay, I'm setting it to private. And I can understand where he was coming from. Honestly, I can understand. I can understand.
You understand that he was frustrated.
I can. Hey, let me spit this out.
Yes.
I can understand how someone who was very wrong about something could create this conclusion. Okay.
Okay.
I can understand. I can understand the bit of logic behind it, because in his post, what he was saying was, "This product is not good. I do not want to support a product that is not good." He's saying, I've purchased this game. I am displeased with the quality of the product, so I don't want to support the product that is good, or that I feel is not good. Now, a reasonable person at that point would say, so I'm stepping down from being moderator of r/WoW.
Correct.
A completely unreasonable person would then say, so I'm going to set r/WoW to private because fuck y'all, basically.
Yes.
So I can understand. I can understand not wanting to support a product that you don't believe in. Perfectly legit, reasonable. Absolutely okay. Don't support a product that you personally don't feel is worth supporting. Go for it. If you hate World of Warcraft, you should probably not be head moderator of a World of Warcraft subreddit. Just makes sense. But maybe on behalf of the other 250,000 people or whatever that use that subreddit, maybe don't shut it down. Maybe don't do that. That's a little bit overboard. That's crossing the line from being disappointed in something into throwing a tantrum.
Yes. Yeah. And that's like, it's hard for me to give it's he just did not belong. I read the tweets before he deleted his account, right? Mm-hmm. I was there for that part at least. And it was like, as I'm reading this, it's like, wow, he is really just like saying, I'm upset, and I'm just gonna shut this thing down. And like, without even taking, he even said something along the lines of like, I don't care what people say about me. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. And it's like, wow, man, like I have a 2-year-old and I expect this sometime within the next year. Right?
Yeah.
I did not expect this from the guy running r/WoW.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I get what you're saying. Like, you know, I understand this element, and you're absolutely right. It's like once you cross that threshold into throwing the tantrum and closing down r/WoW, like that is like that community just went nuts. r/World of Warcraft got a ton of traffic. r/Warcraft, which is, you know,
it was like the Warcraft 3 subreddit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, whoa, hold on a second, guys. What do we do?
Yeah. There was like that brief period of, is the new one going to be r/Real WoW or r/World of Warcraft?
Real WoW, that's right, yes.
Yeah, and everybody, fortunately, in that situation was like, /Real WoW is very weird. Why would we use that instead of r/World of Warcraft? And then fortunately, I don't know if I'm not going to name him because I don't really want to like name and shame. I don't know if the original head moderator decided that he was like had better thoughts or something, or if the new head moderator, who is A Phoenix, who is a great person. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
If I know that he was trying to get control of, like trying to get Reddit to step in and give him control of it. It's possible that that's what happened as well. Either way, the original head mod is out now. A Phoenix is now in charge of it. Much happier place all of a sudden. Went back to being regular old happy r/WoW.
Got a new design too.
It does have a new design. I don't know if that was forced by like it's set to private, so if you lost
they probably lost the CSS.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think it looks good. So it's
nice.
When our WoW came back up, there was a thread that popped up. It was all like, this guy is being a dick, and somebody even made a comment saying, did he eventually actually get into WoW, right? Like jokingly. And he actually responded and said no, right? The admin. And everyone's all like, ha, suck it, like whatever. But somebody even asked, was like, why can't the Reddit mods or admins get involved with this? And one of the admins said he's actually not breaking any of the site rules. Like he's not breaking a site rule it's his, and he's not, he's just not breaking any rules by shutting down his own subreddit, regardless of how big it is. But this was just one admin's comment on this situation. That doesn't mean that there wasn't another admin who was like, that's really dumb that this super popular Reddit is in the hands of somebody who's going to act this way. So maybe they did get involved. I don't actually know what happened with that process. I just know that A Phoenix is awesome. I've indirectly worked with him in the past, and it's like I could see that he's definitely fit for this role right now.
Yeah, and he was even emailing the community team during all of that, just being like, oh my god, you guys, I don't know what's going on. Is there any way that Blizzard can step in and help out? And there really isn't, unfortunately. But yeah, like he was communicating with us the whole time we were talking to him, just being like, what is there anything we can possibly do to help this? Because it would suck to have this. I just went and looked, and it's like 209,000 subscribers or something like that. 202,009, excuse me. Subscribers on the WoW subreddit. It would suck to have all of them suddenly not have their Reddit anymore. That's dumb. So yeah, that fortunately it had a happy ending, but it was just bizarre,
tumultuous. Like that weekend, I think it was. It was like one night it went down, the next night it was everyone was abandoning ship, and then like the next afternoon or something, like it closed down like permanently.
Yeah,
and then the next afternoon, like it came back. I don't even know, but it was just like it was drama.
Yep.
But hey, other than that, everything's going great.
Yeah. Shamans suck at the moment, but they're getting hot fixed, so that's good.
Oh, good.
There's actually a bunch of hot fixes that I don't think have actually been noted yet, but they went into the game already, and I know what they are, but I'm not going to leak them. So anybody listening to by the time they hear this, they'll probably have been posted.
That's true.
Look around and see if you find any differences. Nah. Actually, most of them probably haven't changed the tooltips.
wait, isn't tooltips like that's not a hot fixable thing, is it?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Oh, okay, I don't know what makes the difference.
All right. Well, shit, man.
Yeah.
That was it's funny. We kind of knew that was going to be like the only thing we would talk about today, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And so now this week there's Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this week Thanksgiving, which is why we're doing this right now on a Monday night.
Yeah. Because we didn't really want to go another weekend without anything.
With people were telling us that they're not getting their hopes up.
We didn't even talk about Pound Fist. Okay, real quick, Pound Fist. He has a really long spawn timer. Everybody thought he was bugged and not spawning. Everybody was wrong. People didn't get him out within the first 5 days of an expansion and thought something was broken as a result of it. You guys, we just came off of a year of Siege of Orgrimmar. You just at least chew your meat before you swallow.
Well, Pound Fist is one of the coolest looking new mounts. I mean,
it is really, really super cool. And the hilarious thing was, like 2 people on my team got it today. 2 people on the community team got it today. 2 or 3 even. A bunch of people got it. And it was like, they just happened to, like, today I'm going to look for, while I'm at the office, I'll keep WoW up in a window so I can keep an eye and see if Pound Fist spawns over here. Oh, there he is. I'll hit him. One of them, like, he died within like 10 seconds, and half of the people that were sitting there camping him never got a chance to actually tap him before he died. Which has to be the worst thing ever. Like, you tab out to check Twitter, you tab back in, and there's a dead Pound Fist.
I have done some like serious in-game gymnastics trying to get to something just to tag it before it dies.
Yeah. That's why being a monk is so awesome. You just roll, flying serpent kick, chain lightning, or crackling jade lightning, and you're like, yes, I tagged it.
Oh man, yeah, it's like rocket belts combined with my awesome new glider.
Yeah.
The heroic leap, but by the way, I want to say that heroic leap and my rocket belt were tied together at the beginning of the expansion, but now they're not.
Yeah, I don't actually know what's been going on with heroic leap. It was like they had changed it, and then they had to change it back because it was like causing exploits or something. I don't actually know where things stand on heroic leap at the moment. That's on my list of things to go. Hey, class team, what?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, heroic leap right now it still feels better than what it did before. It was like no path available 90% of the time. And I rely on heroic leap for just about everything once I leave a very tall ledge.
Yes.
And so whenever I'm falling and I'm like sitting there like spamming, clicking with my heroic leap up, and it says path not available and I die, that's when it sucks. I have not had that problem one time so far since I've been playing. However, at the beginning of the expansion, I definitely want to say the rocket belt and the heroic leap were tied together because I saw that same timer issue that I used to have back when I was in RBGs 2 expansions ago. But that like seems to be unhooked. But I also was able to basically heroic leap anywhere, like even places that did not fucking make sense. It was like anywhere that I could not even see. If I think that my reticule is in that area, I will appear there.
Yeah,
but that has been toned down a little bit because it was good. It was a little too good though.
Yeah, you could like leap up onto the sides of things and stuff. It was weird.
Things that had no paths. There was a hunter actually. I was in an Arakoa zone hub like ganking, because I need a couple bones. I just need a couple bones, so ganking a few lobies.
This is just a couple bones.
Just a few bones.
Just give me your bones, bro.
And then I started getting attacked by a pet, and I'm like, oh, it's a hunter's pet here. I'm like, all right, well, you calm down here, little pussycat. Let me find your master. And I'm looking around. I don't see this guy, but I'm getting hit by arrows. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I look up, and the dude's like on this rope that's like right above the flight master, right? And I'm like, this guy thinks he's sick. I heroic leaped up to his ass, dude. He did not see that coming, man. Like
that's a heroic fucking leap.
It was so good. I went right up. I was in his face. He panicked and dropped down, and then we started fighting on the ground. But it was like that. That was very recent. So I'm pretty sure you guys did not fix that. Thankfully, like if there is a path that I can get to this thing, then it lets me leap to it. And at that moment, good. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
The other important side note, like you mentioned, using it for avoiding fall damage. Gladiator Sanctum enables safe fall in outdoor zones.
Not from the heights that I'm jumping at.
Yeah.
But yes, that is level 2, I believe.
Level 2, yeah.
I think I just got it. Oh, and underwater breathing for all the seconds that I'm underwater.
There's actually a few like hidden resources in various underwater locations.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, like garrison resources hidden at the bottom of the ocean.
Which I need a lot of, but thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, schedule for the next few weeks looking kind of hairy.
I feel like next week, I think you're taking a little bit of a vacation. But
yeah, so like next week should be fine. Like we have Thanksgiving. Next week I should be fine. Week after that, I should be fine. Week after that, I should be fine. And then from basically Christmas up until like halfway through January, I'm gonna be out.
Out.
I'm gonna be taking a vacation. We already get a decent amount of time off for the holidays, and I've been saving up vacation time for after BlizzCon and Warlords launch and everything. And I'm just like
stacking buffs.
Oh yeah, I've been stacking. I have several cooldowns, and I will be popping every single one of them at the same time, so that I can take a nice long vacation and actually get some relaxing time in. Yeah.
Well, so
I'm going on like an actual vacation, like going overseas. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, I'm gonna not be able to play WoW for like 3 weeks. That terrifying.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will, dude. You could like splash top in.
Just use TeamViewer from my phone.
It's worth it, man. Just park your ass right in front of your commander's table.
Yeah. Oh, I was doing that the other day. You can totally do it. It completely works.
Yes.
You just have to make sure that you've logged out like in the right location. Like you have to log out directly in front of the commander's table.
Yep.
And be facing it. So that because trying to turn your character through TeamViewer does not work. Bitch. Yeah.
You end up looking up
Yeah, exactly. All right, dude.
It was a good reunion episode.
It was a good reunion episode. This is like the most legendary-ish thing that we've ever produced too, because we just talked about WoW for 90% of
it. And you know what? It might happen again, because right now, like WoW, it's like there's WoW, and in terms of like what I'm playing, obviously WoW, Destiny, the Crota expansion, the butt end, whatever it's called. But there's the Dark Below. Yes, that's coming very soon. Shizzle, of all people, got me a key for Don't Starve multiplayer.
Wow.
Yeah, I could just email the guy, but I've not done it yet. So it's just all like, look, fucker, here's your key. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 for, or I should say Grand Theft Auto Online for PS4 is out. So it's just like there's so many games right now to play. It's been nuts. But majority of my time has still been in freaking WoW. Get me hooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. So I guess I'll see you next week then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to say bye? You want to say bye?
No.
All right.